Okay, perfect. Welcome, everyone. I know some of you are saying that you can't hear us or we're cutting in and out. We will definitely go slow. Sometimes that helps the sound catch up to the slides that we're working through. My name is Desiree Bolton. I'm an educational specialist with Writing City and Vocabulary Spelling City. Very pleased to be here from sunny Florida. It was raining a few minutes ago, but it looks like the sun came out, so now it's good and humid out there. So welcome to today's webinar.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much, Desiree. And my name is Carrie Howard. I'm glad you were able to briefly see us for a little bit. I taught in the classroom for about 12 years. I did 3rd and 5th grade. So a lot of the resources that we're going to be going through are tools that we have either used in our classroom or have used in professional development courses as well as other experiences. So we're really excited to bring those to you today. As you can see, we have so many people visiting us from different parts of the nation and different parts of the world. So this is fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and exit this. I'm going to go over this, so don't worry. We will go more into this. If I can just do another quick sound check, because now I'm paranoid. If you can hear me okay, just go ahead and put your hands up that you can see me. And that you can see my screen. And then, okay, go ahead, Desiree. You can go ahead and then I'll go. Thanks.
Okay. All right, well, welcome everyone. So, over the past few months, many educational institutions around the globe have shifted to teaching remotely due to the COVID-19. Educators have been facing the challenge of teaching remotely at an unprecedented scale and, in some cases, for the first time. For the foreseeable future, most teachers will be shifting from teaching in front of the classroom to teaching in front of a screen. For educators who are new to distance learning, it can be challenging to know where to start. So, we as educators are currently transforming education across the world. Today, we're going to share a few resources to assist you in making your instruction more interactive and engaging. And just as a little disclaimer, anything that we're sharing, we're not sponsored by any of these apps. We're just simply passionate educators looking to support teachers during these uncertain times and anytime moving forward. And this webinar today is brought to you by Writing City.
Awesome. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and start with our top 10 resources to making FaceTime interactive. What's very challenging is making a FaceTime, and when I say FaceTime, I mean like a Zoom session or a GoToMeets, not GoToMeets, I'm thinking of the program we use, but the Google Meets, any type of conferencing application that you're using. How do we make that interactive? So basically making it going from teacher-centered to more student-centered. So the tools that we're showing you today, you're going to be able to easily use multiple times in your everyday lessons. We made sure to choose tools that are the most practical, they're user-friendly, and best of all, they're free. All right, so we're going to go ahead and begin with the Padlet. And what I'm going to do is, before I actually send you the link, let me go ahead and first explain. So what I did was I grabbed a resource. I'm using resources and visual aids from Writing City, and this is on strong verbs. Now, we can easily give this to our students, make copies, send it to them in the classroom. That's very easy, right? Well, virtually, and even in the classroom, you can do this. How can we make this more interactive? Well, we can make a virtual bulletin board, right? And that's what Padlet is. So we're going to take a look here I'm going to go ahead and do the split screen again so you can see it. So give me one moment so I can properly set that up for you to see. And What I have done was I added a strong verb. I pretty much replicated what I have on the screen. And what I'd have the students do is go ahead, and you can do this in so many ways. You could read a book and see what different ways they've heard the word said, which is referred as a weak verb. What's another way to say the word said as a strong verb, okay? And they would add it in there in the proper column. So you can see that these are set up in columns. All right, so what I'm going to have you do as I talk through this, go ahead, just put one word so you don't get distracted. I'm going to send everybody that link, and you're going to simply click on this plus sign. So if you have a strong word for said, go ahead and add that. And then I'm going to talk you through this as I go through the next slide. So what Padlet is, it's an online bulletin board that can be used in many different ways. Once you register for an account, because you do have to register for an account, you will be able to create 6 free Padlets. Now, there's even some learning management systems that let you embed the Padlet into your courses. How cool is that? Regardless, you're going to get a link that you can share with your students, and you can see on my screen that it updates in real time. Super exciting. When you are presenting, you'll be able to manipulate and move these tiles around. So this is just one example that you can use Padlet for. How about exit tickets? You'll notice here there's all these different types of bulletin boards that you can create. You can create the 3-2-1 exit ticket. What are they struggling with? What have they learned? What do they have questions about? Create student polls. Students can upvote and downvote on a post. For example, if you want to give feedback on an opinion writing essay or even a thesis statement for upper grade levels or college university levels, you can have students vote, right? And then you can discuss what the high schools are as discussion pieces. Even research, students will have the ability, depending on what bulletin board, to put in images. They can cite their sources. So just really quick over here. Now this isn't a how-to, but I'm just going to show you a few things. Under this setting here, this is where you're going to get all of your information. Your sharing link, your instructions go here. You could pick your wallpaper. You can choose if you want them to comment or react. Even filter profanity. Hey, that's great. That's a good bonus because we know, there's always that one child that tries to test you, right? And if you want to require approval. So that is Padlet for you. So on to the next one.
Okay, so now we're moving into Kahoot. Kahoot is on a mission to make learning awesome. Kahoot is a game-based learning platform used all over the world. Kahoot can work with any subject in any language on any device. So I know a few people were asking, can I use this in Spanish? And the answer is yes for Kahoot. There's a plethora of different languages that you can use. As a teacher, you can decide if you want to create your own game-based experience, or you can discover and play existing games. There are millions of games in their library, and you can sign up with Kahoot.com. So whether you're using a pre-made Kahoot for instruction or creating one of your own to support your curriculum, there are tutorials and documents to support you every step of the way. This primary Kahoot focuses on the vowels within reading. There are questions, and this is the view from the teacher's side. So these are the questions you would have, the images that would support the student's knowledge working within those vowels. And I know it says the readlings, those are the little characters. And then there's actually even a starter guide that specifically addresses the needs of an educator during distance learning. So it's a PDF they have right on their website.
Hey, Desiree, I'm not sure if I lost you.
Can you hear me still, Carrie?
Yep, go for it. You just have to do this slide.
Okay, you couldn't hear the slide, no problem. So just to let everyone know, there's a starter guide
Nope, we
that's
lost you.
specifically.
Go ahead.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
There's just such a delay. There is a starter guide, Distance Learning within Kahoot, built right into their website. Okay, and I think it's on your end, Carrie, because everyone says that that they can hear my presentation.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so here we are on Wheel of Names. So you can use Wheel of Names. This is, again, a free resource. You don't need to register for an account. You just simply go to wheelofnames.com, and you can use it in a split screen. I have it here set up as a split screen with interactive whiteboards, such as the AW app that we actually went over the last webinar. And simply have students do an activity that goes like this. So basically in the Wheel of Names, you'll notice that you have segments of the spinner that you can put a text or an image. And then you can also customize the instructions that come up. I'm going to play this one more time. So you'll see that it spins. For this particular activity, I use transition words. So students will demonstrate by writing a sentence or verbally giving us a sentence using that transition word. And then you can choose, you'll notice a pop-up box like this. You can choose to remove it from the wheel, or you can just leave it in there for the next student to spin. Okay, I've used this in my classroom even to increase participation. So whatever student landed on, they were up and they would have to answer a question, even for prizes. This is a document, I got from Writing City. It's our sound card. And as I mentioned before, you can include sound in these segments. So students can enunciate the words as it lands on the graphic or the sound, and identify the phonemes of that word. So again, this is a great primary activity. So that is wheelofnames.com.
Okay, moving into Jamboard, and thank you everyone for your patience. I've seen a lot of you jump in saying this is exactly what happens when we teach remotely, and we feel your pain. So moving into Jamboard, Jamboard is a free whiteboard tool provided through Google. You can create multiple frames or boards all on the same screen. It gives you the opportunity to create, collaborate, and bring your team's ideas to life. You can create as many boards as you would like. You can also invite others to collaborate by sharing out the link or inviting your students personally through your email. Once you finish your whiteboard, you can export it as an image or a PDF. This works perfectly with either Screencastify or Kami, and those were two of the apps that we previously covered in our webinar. With these, then you can record your voice or write directly right on the image while you're teaching. Based on your last survey, a number of teachers responded that they use the Google Platform Classroom. In the event that you don't, you can open up a Gmail for free and then take advantage of these free resources. And you can see here, they're using them for math, for writing, social studies.
And then, you know what, Desiree, they're asking for the link for
So there
Jamboard.
are
Would you
two
mind
ways
copy
to
and pasting
access.
that in the chat box and they can check that out? It's just a website like, but
Sure. If you go to the next slide, I've got it. Okay, so there's actually two ways that you can access Jamboard. You can go into your URL and just type in jamboard.google.com, and I'll put that in the chat box. Or you can just go in through your Google extensions. A great feature is that Jamboard saves directly to your Google Drive for easy access. You can draw, add sticky notes, add images, and even change the background. So for this Jamboard that I created, I took a writing prompt from our third grade curriculum, pulled in visuals and the resources to support the activity. So as I'm instructing, students will write directly on the Jamboard, taking a stance on the prompt of whether or not children should have to do chores. I can then create smaller sessions based on their selection, where I can curtail their instruction and they can collaborate and brainstorm to begin their writing process.
All right, the next resource or tool is called Bamboozle. And Bamboozle is an educational game that you can do during your FaceTime with your students or even a follow-up activity. Bamboozle can be fully customized to the curriculum, the content that you're currently covering in the classroom, or even training for those of you who do professional learning that you would like to do. It's designed to be a whole class activity with the instructor running the game. And as you can see on my screen, there are many games already created by other educators that you can use. So I definitely recommend for you to search before you actually create your game. Every time you play the game, it's always going to be different. So it's always randomized. And as I mentioned before, you can create your own game, but you have to sign up for an account. Now remember, it's free, but again, if you want to create your own game, you have to sign up for accounts. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you really briefly what I have done here is, again, here's another visual aid from Writing City, and this lesson in particular is about facts and opinion. So what I did first was I first searched their archive to see if they even had one, and I have 3 games here, one with fact and opinion, and there's a few others that I had looked up previously. Once you sign in after creating after getting your credentials, you'll see this is very simple, user-friendly. On the upper left-hand corner, you can go ahead into the games and you can search here. So these are all the featured games that you'll find on the front. All right, and here's the search box. Then if you like any of the games that you see here, it will show up under your My Likes section of the website. So these are all the games that I have liked from other teachers. And then of course, if you go to My Games, these are games that you have created and you can walk through. It's very simple. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to walk through this with you, but you can go ahead and create your own game so it aligns better with what you're doing in the classroom. So just to run through how it works, if I click on fact and opinion, students can even use this to study. So they would basically go through it and check their answers. You can even show the answers by selecting the hide, and the show. But to play the game, you're going to do this from your end as you share the screen. And it's telling you just quickly how to run this game with your students, how many questions, how many teams if you'd like. You could even do a quiz, but that takes the fun out of it, right? So we're going to do a classic with power-ups, and I'll explain to you what the power-up is. And it looks like it's kind of like a Jeopardy in a way, right? Where there's different points that they can get. So students would select a number. I have 2 teams. So let's just say 7. And you're going to read it. Other teams loses 20 points. Okay, so this is actually called a power up, and they have it usually they don't give power ups the first time, but it's kind of like that Monopoly, that go to jail card, right? There's some positive and there's some negative ones. In this case, the other team loses 20 points. There is sound that you can't hear, unfortunately. So here's our first one. Watching fireworks on the 4th of July is lots of fun. What is it, everyone? Is it a fact or is an opinion? So they would go ahead and respond, and they say, oh, it's an opinion. So you're going to check it, it's an opinion, and if they got it right, then you're going to be the one to say, okay, good job. So now team 2, you're -5, you earn some points back. We're moving back to team 1. So basically it's just a fun way to end a lesson, just to kind of see quickly how much they've grasped that concept, to kind of help you guide that instruction, but in a fun way.
All right, moving into Flipgrid. Flipgrid is a free video discussion platform from Microsoft that helps millions of educators across the world better engage with and hear from their learners. To use Flipgrid, educators post their discussion questions or prompts, and learners respond anytime, anywhere with short videos. Flipgrid is also a perfect way to keep your child engaged and to share their learning at home. So our students will have fun creating videos that express their creativity when responding to prompts within their private Flipgrid environment. So something new that they've just pushed out just a little bit ago is that Flipgrid has an activity center. Here you'll find a constantly updated library of fun and educational activities to spark our kiddos at home. So if you're getting ready for summer break with your kids who have already been home for 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how long your school has been home, this might be a fun way to keep them engaged for the summer. Each activity is accompanied by an easy to use instructions and follows a simple format with the learn, do, and share. If you currently don't have a conferencing app, this is a great platform to start with, very easy to use. So your responses or the student responses can be as short as 15 seconds or as long as 5 minutes. It's always great for the educator to take the time to share a response first to show the students that you're willing to take the same risks that they are, as well as providing them with a model. I have a short little example of how math teachers are using Flipgrid to make their digital classrooms more interactive. So I don't think you can hear the sound for this specific one, but it just shows a little boy, Jonah, and he is explaining the math problem and how he went about doing it. So never shows his face or anything if that's something that you want to set up as a norm, but he does go ahead and walks through specifically how he found his problem and his answer. And this really allows him to collaborate with his students, connect with his teacher, and to really show what he knows.
All right, so on to our next tool, interactive Google Slides. Now, this might seem like a no-brainer, but there's so many different ways that you can use Google Slides to make it more interactive for your FaceTime with your students, okay? And I know we're mentioning Google a lot. As Desiree mentioned, a lot of you do use Google Classroom, but even if you don't, if you have a Gmail account, you can use all of the apps that are free for you to use. So I really think it's definitely worth it creating a Gmail just to get those apps. And this is one of them. So what I did was I created a slide deck of interactivity, and I'm actually going to exit this here so I can demonstrate this better, and I'm going to make this bigger. So first I'm going to go ahead and explain this little activity. This is a opinion writing lesson from Writing City, and all I did was create text boxes from up here, this shape, created text boxes, put it on top of the words. I highlighted this and I right-clicked and made it a group, okay? And then once I do that, now everything is stuck together. And what I do is share this link of this presentation with my students. So those of you, again, you're going to get the recording, so you'll be able to rewind through the directions, I promise you. But in order to share this with your students, you're going to click on share, and you see where it says anyone at VKids. So that's the organization that I work with. But we want to make sure that anybody with the link, so I'm going to click on more, anyone with the link who accesses this presentation will be able to, and that's down here where it says access. I know it's small, but you want them to be able to edit. I click on save. So now when I share this link out to my students via Zoom or, you know, whatever the conferencing, WebEx, whatever the conferencing application that you're doing, they're going to be able to come and manipulate the objects on the screen. So they would simply, it's just like a drag and drop type of thing, where they're going to drag and drop the different responses, and then you can go over it as you are instructing that lesson. The next example here, all I did was I inserted images, and what's a nice thing from Google is they'll filter through all the images that you have permission to use. You can search the web, and I just imported 3 images. I imported a photo, a basket, and some flowers. And basically this could be a counting activity for math, right? So you would, again, you can share the link to the student that you'd like to demonstrate their knowledge, have them count all the flowers into the basket. The next example that I have here, and this is my fault because I did not refresh this, but basically what I did was I created a picture graph where students will all get to vote for their favorite ice cream. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make you guys hungry, but you know, I am expecting, so I do have a sweet tooth and I think about ice cream a lot. But what I wanted to show you is when you do share that link, you'll have enough ice creams for everybody to move to their favorite flavor, right? So then they'll see that pictograph build over time. And again, you can ask guided questions, guided math questions. And how did I do that? Just like with PowerPoint and just like with other applications, you're just going to copy and paste the same image. And I like to just use the shortcuts because they're so easy. You just select that image, Control C, Control V several times, and just layer it. And then students, as you share that link, they'll be able to grab their favorite flavor and put it in the correct column.
All right, so moving into Buzz In Live. Buzz In Live is an interactive buzzer that allows your participants to virtually buzz in. There is a host view and a participant view. So when you go to the site, you can click on host and you'll be able to lead a game. As you host, you can access the settings such as only allowing 1 buzz per player, or there's different settings that you'll see. And you can also tell your students to join with the code that you give them. So where you would click join or host, they would click join. So these are the settings, and that's our game code right there that the students would put in. So on this screen, you have the left side, which is the teacher side, and the right side, which is the participant or the student view. As your students register, you'll see their names populate, and then you'll know when you can begin asking questions. As a primary teacher, you could use this during a read aloud where you pause and discuss story elements, or during a math review. And then when we move into our elementary, intermediate, and secondary teachers, you could use this at any point when you're doing a class review, or if you're doing direct instruction for your students, just to pause and to make sure that they continuously are engaged throughout your remote lesson.
Flippity.net. This is one of my favorite websites, and you just access it by going to flippity.net. It's a free website, once again, that provides a wide range of templates that you can download, fill in with your own content, and then play online through this Flippity site. So there's over 20 games that you can pick from. So I only have a handful shown here that you can use during FaceTime with your kiddos. Alternatively, you can even have them use the tool on their side and show the class to demonstrate their knowledge. So what I have shown you here, these are the top five games that I would highly recommend for you to use during FaceTime with your students. So we have here the first one. This is called a quiz show. This is Flippity's version of a Jeopardy game. Then you have bingo. This one's really fun. You can play bingo online or print. So they basically randomize those pieces and every student will receive a different bingo card. You have Mad Libs. We all love Mad Libs, right? That brings me way back. You can make a story for users to fill in of different parts of speech. And you have this really fun randomizer and manipulatives. And these are actually both brand new. When I look at the randomizer, I think of just a really cool way to get a creative writing prompt. So basically each column spins and there's a something different written in each column and they all relate to each other in some way. So they can spin it and you can use it for many different learning opportunities, but the first thing I thought was for creative writing. And then you'll have these flippity manipulatives where students will be able to manipulate and move words around. One second, Desiree. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you briefly just a few things. So you'll notice that you can demo. So if you want to try out the activity for yourself, you can click on the demo below each thumbnail and experiment with the game, see if you like it, see if it's appropriate for your class. This will have all content in there for you. You can also learn more if you click on the instructions, it's going to walk you through exactly how to customize it. Now, what I've realized, it does use Google Sheets. When you click on the template, it will open up to Google Sheets. So just a FYI. But again, you'll be able to fully customize that and it will bring it into that game for you. Now, if you find that, let's just say Jeopardy, say that you took a lot of time creating this template, you love how it turned out, all you have to do let's just pretend this is our game here. You can simply save it. You can bookmark this particular website and it's going to save all the content that you previously input for that template. Okay, so let's just say this is only about the Civil War. Then you can save it in your bookmarks and just put Civil War Jeopardy. So every time it comes up, it's going to reset with the same content.
So here you can see just a list of all of the different resources that we went over. So when you receive,
okay, so basically, go ahead.
When you receive your recording, you'll be able to go in and actually click on each one, because I know some of you said you had trouble getting to either the Flipgrid or Padlet or whatever it was. So this is just the list of all of the resources to help you get quick access to get started using these resources.
Correct. So in our follow-up, please look out for a survey. We would love your feedback. Unfortunately, the technical difficulties, we weren't able, with the delays and everything, we are capped. So, and with our webcams on, that did cause a delay. So we do apologize, but we thank you very much for hanging in there with us. So as a follow-up, just make sure to look for a survey, a feedback survey, and also we're going to link these resources for you. So it's going to be there for you so you can click it and go. Go ahead.
So throughout our training today, we've used our curriculum resources from Writing City. So if you are interested in this program, you can reach out to info@writingcity.com. And we are currently setting up short 10 to 15-minute demos to see if Writing City or Vocabulary Spelling City will support your curriculum needs.
Perfect. Okay, my friends, so what we're going to do, we're going to take this time, the last bit of the hour, to do a question and answer session. And I know there's a delay between Desiree and I. Again, thank you so much for bearing with us. I think the best thing that we can do is just take turns answering. And I'll just go ahead and begin since I'm already talking. I'm going to scroll up to the top and we're going to answer as many questions as we can. So just give me a second so I can go ahead and look for that first question. I know a lot of you had questions about Padlet, so hopefully I was able to answer those for you. All right, give me a second. Okay, so one question says, how do you sign in with that Padlet app? So you actually have to register on Padlet.com for a sign-in. When you go to Padlet.com, you should be able to see a register or sign up link. Once you sign up, you will get your free account and you will be able to start creating up to 6 free bulletin boards. I'm going to pass it to you, Des.
Okay, perfect. I had a few people asking about using Kahoot and needing 2 devices. So as we're teaching remotely, I know that a lot of us have either Screencastify or different ways to share our screen. So as an educator, you would show your screen that would have the question, and then your students would use their device to go ahead and play along and learn along within that Kahoot game.
Okay, I'm just looking for questions.
I've got another one, Carrie.
Go ahead.
Okay, so a few people asked about Flipgrid. They said, do students need to download Flipgrid? So there's a few different ways they can access it, but as the educator, you can share the URL with your student, and then the students either log in with their school email if they're upper grades, or their school ID if they're primary, or they can even use a QR code to go ahead and join, and then they hit that green record button, and that will send it right back to you.
Amy asked if these programs are always free or just through the end of June. I believe there's only one that was free because of COVID that Desiree had mentioned, but the rest are free.
Yes, Kahoot is offering its premium free until your school resumes its normal operations, but otherwise their initial sign-in is always free.
How do you get Jamboard free? So Jamboard, as long as you have a Gmail account, or you have Google Classroom, or within your school organization, if you're using Google as your platform for communication and all that, you should be able to access Jamboard. It's jamboard.google.com.
So Carrie, a lot of people were asking about our first webinar. Is there a way to send our first webinar when we send the recording for the second one?
Yes, we can go. Well, I'll make sure you guys get that, and I can also, if Desiree, if you don't mind, go through some of those questions. I can actually add that to the chat box for you while she's talking.
Sure. Let me see if there's any other ones. So there's some specific questions about spelling city and writing city. So there is on your screen right now, there is info@writingcity.com. Anything specific to that program, we're going to direct you to that, and they will call you and arrange a time to go ahead and do a demo. So we want to just make sure any of our current customers, you guys are taken care of, and if you're interested in a demo, you're able to go ahead and reach out for that.
So I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat box the first webinar that we did. Is called Preparing Interactive Activities. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into the chat box for you. I would just click it and bookmark that for later time. But again, we will email this for those of you who are watching the recording. We will send a follow-up email with that information as well.
And a lot of teachers today have been asking about accessibility within these programs, specifically for their districts. That's something that you would have to work out with your IT department. I don't know what's locked and what's unlocked, but these are all free web-based platforms that we've shared today.
In regards to implementing this within your Zoom meetings or your GoToMeet, there is an icon, and unfortunately I cannot show you that right now, but there is a way that you can share your screen. So once you share your screen, that's how you're going to display these interactive activities. You also have the ability to chat back and forth. So if there's links that you need to share, that's how you would do that.
Okay, and I know Isella is still on because she just sent a question. She just said, would you briefly go over the Buzz in Live? So everything is recorded today. It's just an interactive buzzer game. So when you get the recording, you can walk back through it or just go to the website. It's very user-friendly. And you can always go to YouTube and check out the little tutorial. We just wanted to let teachers become aware of these great free resources.
For Bamboozle, someone had asked how do they answer. So Bamboozle is completely managed by you, the instructor, the teacher. So this would be more of a class discussion. You have them in teams. They know who their teams are. You would ask them. You would share your screen. You'll read the question aloud to your students or whoever's representing that team. They're going to give you that answer. And again, as Desiree said, you can go back to the recording and you're going to click if it was right or if it was wrong. So you're the one that is facilitating that whole thing.
Oh, and thank you, Stephanie. She said that through Teams, she is able to share her screen and her students can play and see what she is doing at the same time. So that's perfect for a Kahoot.
So Heidi asked about drag and drop on Google Slides, and she said, do they drag and drop individually on their own Google slide? No. So you're going to share one Google slide. So you're basically sharing the slide that you're creating. So yes, essentially it's going to change the master. So what's a workaround? Duplicate the slide and have your master slide, or duplicate the presentation so you have your master presentation already done, and then the duplicated one would be the presentation that you share with your students.
Okay, we had a question from Carlton, and he asked if, does buzzinlive.com tell you who buzzed in first? And the answer is yes. When your students first join with that code, they type in their name or whatever student ID, if you want it to be anonymous, and anonymous to their friends. And then when they buzz, you can turn on their microphone and they can share their answer, or it does let you know who's the one that buzzed in first.
All of these are free, my friends. Some of you are asking. Some of you are also asking if you can use these resources with your particular grade level or a certain content area. All of these tools you certainly can customize to make it fit your, the grade level that you're teaching or the content area. Absolutely. Let's see.
Thank you, Bertha, for your kind words. I'm glad you had fun this afternoon.
You will receive a recording and a certificate approximately 1 hour from the time that we end this webinar.
Thank you, Cheryl. I'm glad that you joined us at 5 a.m. from Australia.
That's awesome. Tiffany asked, what programs do you use, like as far as conferencing tools? Google Meets would be the free, Google Meets and Zoom, I would say would be your best bet. I believe Zoom, I'm not sure, but I think Zoom has some type of promotion going on because of COVID, so you may want to check that out. Are these programs associated with spellingcity.com? No, but we are sponsored by Vocabulary Spelling City and Writing City. So those of you who do not know what Writing City is or what a Vocabulary Spelling City is, Writing City is a standard-based K-5 writing and grammar curriculum. And I like to call it the one-stop writing shop. It's a beautiful thing, especially for remote learning. Students have their own portal, they have their own account, teachers can easily give feedback on their work. All the lessons are very clear and explicit for you. We definitely hold your hand through writing, especially if that is not your forte. You will love it. There's instructional videos, there's interactive games, so definitely check out the trial. And of course, as we mentioned, we can do a short little demo for you and your administration. Vocabulary Spelling City is a supplemental word study program. It's a game-based program where students can manipulate words in a variety of modalities. We have over 40 games that students can play, quote, play, but really it's practice, right? So the whole point of it is multiple exposures to help increase vocabulary retention.
It looks like that's all of the questions for right now.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, it really has been a pleasure. Thanks again for bearing with us with the technical difficulties. You know, you can't live with technology, you can't live without it, right? And as educators, we work around it. We manage to get through it. We improvise. So thank you so much for sticking with us today. We're very happy to be able to provide you with all these different resources. You will get a follow-up with the recording and a certificate from GoToWebinar. Writing City, we will send you a separate email with the LinkedIn document with a document of links from all the resources today, and we'll also send you the previous webinar that we did on creating instructional videos. Okay, so everybody have a good evening or late afternoon if you're here in the East Coast, and the rest of you enjoy your day or your evening. So good. You're welcome, guys. Thank you so much. United Kingdom. That's awesome. Thanks for joining us. So happy that you enjoyed. Thank you for the feedback. Saudi Arabia. I love it. Welcome. Hi, Mexico. Welcome, Canada. Everyone from Texas, I see you. Brooklyn, New York. Thank you, everyone. California. Thank you, Stephanie. Trinidad and Tobago. Oh, that's on my bucket list to go to. Welcome. Australia. I love the World Connection too. It's amazing. I love that we're all coming together. Pricing information for Writing City, definitely contact us at info@writingcity.com and we'll get right back to you. That was our goal, Angela. Practical and informative webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lucy from Guatemala. I love this. This is awesome. Yes, Writing City and Spelling City are separate. Sister companies, but one is a curriculum and the other is a supplement. Barcelona, Spain, thank you for joining us from New Jersey. You're very welcome. All right, everybody, I am going to exit and you will get the recording following after. Have a great afternoon. Thanks, Desiree.
Have a great one.